Welcome everyone to episode 96 of the Analog Assault Podcast, and this week we have special guest Radical with us talking mental health and gaming, so let's go!
You're listening to Analog Assault, a video game podcast by Mulehorn Gaming.
Welcome everyone to another episode of the Analog Assault Podcast. And real quick, before we get started in this episode, we're going to go over a little housekeeping here. We just want to say, if you like our podcast, like the content, head over to patreon.com/Mulehorn Gaming, get all the details. Or now you can just sub right here to our Twitch channel. And you can catch us every Thursday night at twitch.tv/Mulehorn Gaming at 8:30 p.m. Central Standard Time. So let's introduce the guest of the hour, and that's Radical618.
Hey, what's going on? How's it going?
What's up? So glad you can join us, and I'm so happy that we get to talk about some of the stuff we're going to talk about tonight. It's going to be awesome. So
lucky for you, I'm a big fan of the topic, so I'm looking forward to this. Yeah.
So you're not just good at sniping in Destiny.
No.
No.
I'm also paid to talk to people, and no, I'm just kidding.
So guys, before we get into who Radical is and kind of talk about some mental health and gaming, I got to ask, because we ask every week, what you been playing? What you been doing?
Yeah, who you starting with? We just go?
We can just go.
All right. Prime
that
time.
is. Okay, so as you can imagine, if you follow me, I have not diverted. It's still Assassin's Creed Odyssey. Still rocking the same
So
armor,
shocked.
Shock, off,
still
surprise.
wielding the hammer, and still taking some pretty snapshots.
The hammer, really?
Jason's hammer, and now I got a flaming hammer. So not only do I knock my opponents off my ship, across the field, or off roofs, they're on fire while they're doing it. It's just fun.
I couldn't get the hammer down. It was too slow for me.
Well,
But I could understand that knockback.
takes a certain skill set to wield that big boy. I'm saying.
Oh my gosh.
We'll talk about that more later, Thad.
That's for the post show, by the way. Now, almost level 50, and I still can't get enough, man. There's so much to do. It doesn't stop giving.
Yeah.
Have you gotten all of the keys yet? I'm just trying
I
to
got
gauge.
no keys, but
You know about the keys.
because you mentioned it several times.
Okay.
Well,
I'm like,
I know
question
there's
mark.
at least one key you could get at the level you're at, but that's the only key I know of.
I don't know if
Alright.
he can actually get it, though, until he has the quest.
Oh, well, yeah,
Probably
no,
not.
I know, but if he doesn't have the quest, but if you have the quest, there's only one I know of so far, but I'm not high enough level to get it.
Well, if they'd stop showing me question marks and side quest, maybe I'd get a key. But they're
Yeah.
not doing it.
Never end,
I get
dude. There's just so much to do.
So much.
Yeah.
So much.
So much.
I finally got the fourth key, but it requires you to be 50. I was 47 when I did it. It was a
Wow.
little rough.
Right.
Yeah.
I will add, on top of that, I've been catching up with My Hero Academia in season 2. I'm back into animes. I mean, at least this one. I'm digging
Yeah.
it. It's good.
Nice.
It's good.
I got some other ones for you once you're done with this one.
Scarecrow's like, here's my list.
Yeah.
Here's my list.
Yeah, right.
Here's your homework for this week.
Well, right on, T Prime. What you been playing, Crow?
Oh,
Is
a
it
little
down
bit
to
of
like
this,
10
little bit
games
of that.
now? Or is
It's
it-
down. Well, this week actually, I did not play that much because I was out of town for most of the week.
Yeah.
It was my parents' 30th wedding anniversary, so
Oh,
when I
nice.
visited them,
GG.
I did play an exclusive game though that I don't think many of you have heard of. It's called Uncle Crow.
Uncle Crow?
I got to play with my niece for first time.
Oh, there you go. There you go.
Well,
That's
I've met her
nice.
one time. She was really young then, though. So that was
Did
fun.
you play it because of the name?
No, it's not my actual niece.
Oh, so you're
Okay.
playing
I just
Uncle
went
Crow,
from my head.
like a
I was
real
with
life
you,
game,
playing
I
like
got
an
you.
IRL game.
Yes.
I was thinking it was a game called Uncle Crow. It was like, oh, I'll play this with you. Yeah.
prime was lost there,
It's
dude.
right
Yep.
over the head.
I just turned
Right.
40. Leave me alone.
He's an old
been
man
doing
now.
that. Still grinding away on PSO and Destiny. A bit of Elder Scrolls. Not as much on Elder Scrolls as much because I'm kind of like waiting for the new content. They're actually going to be releasing a huge DLC for consoles on Tuesday.
Nice.
They've already released it on PC. I keep seeing people like K-Magic, my friends, other people that are playing it on PC. I'm like, why can't it play it now? I don't understand. Like, they always do this. It's always PCs like 2 weeks before console. Doesn't
Mhm.
make any sense to me.
It's a hard night life.
Poor
But
console players.
yeah,
Yeah.
just grinding out. Also recently started, like I was mentioning to the crew earlier, started watching The Expanse. Don't know
About
why I never
freaking
watched it in the
time.
first place.
About
About
time,
for
man.
sure.
I mean, I didn't jump onto the what is it, the Game of Thrones wagon until it was done, so I could just binge it all. Maybe I was thinking the same thing here,
Yeah.
but really enjoying that. Let's just put it this way: I drove for 11 hours yesterday,
Oof.
then stayed up till 4 a.m. last night watching it.
You
Why
like
is
it a
it-
lot.
Yeah,
Yeah.
might like it a little bit.
Safe to say it's good. Yeah.
Yeah,
For sure.
but Mule, what about you?
Well, let's actually ask Radical. She is the I'll go last. We'll save
Well-
the last. So
There you go. Yeah, so similarly to Thad, I've been working my way through Greece. I don't want to say too much to spoil anything. I just learned that I was going to represent Sparta in a really cool event that I didn't know was in the game, and I'm
Oh, that was
super
fun.
stoked for that.
That was
So I
fun.
just got to that area, and I have not done it yet. So I'm really, really excited for
Awesome.
that. I think I'm level 33 or 34, so I
Oh, wow.
finally figured out questing. Finally made it past whatever I
So,
was doing.
what were you doing before you found out?
I think I was just not picking the right things. In my opinion, killing the cultists should give you a lot more XP than it does. So I really thought that was going to boost me up, and I did like 5, and I went like that much
Yeah.
on my on my level on my XP, and I was like, okay, I got to find something else to do. But killing the cultists is actually I love doing that. It feels so good. And I'm not going to say anything. I will not spoil anything. I got spoiled for who the ghost is. But it was who I thought it was. So I was like,
Okay.
okay, I'm not too upset about it. So I'm mostly just really excited to kill all these cultists to get to the ghost, because there's like a cool interaction with who that person is. So
Nice.
but yeah, so I did yeah, so I'm gonna represent Sparta. What else have I done without giving too much away? I did the whole Mykonos side quest, which is kind of like a bigger side quest, which I really liked. There's some good characters there. I love it. Cassandra is so funny.
Yeah.
And she, one of the things that I'd like to write for Mulehorn that I've brought up, I haven't gotten to yet because my life has been hectic, but just the importance of the female protagonist, and Cassandra, in my opinion, is one of the top for sure that I've experienced, so I'm really, really loving this game. I'm glad that I took the dive and that I'm playing it along you guys. Really, it's been fun to compare. So
Nice.
yeah.
Nice. Welcome
Um,
aboard.
yeah, and then also complete surprise. Just too much and a lot of Destiny 2. I can't seem to stop playing Destiny 2. Season 10 is absolutely horrific, and I can't seem to stop playing Destiny 2. So I was telling you guys before, I finished my Nightmare Hunt time trials. I got the pretty emblem today. And I'm
Nice.
just, I'm slowly figuring out a new build for Crucible. That was super fun. I put it on my stream yesterday with the bow and the shotgun. Who knew? But wow, what a blast that was. It's so fun. I could not believe how much fun I was having, especially I love my sniper, but whew, that
Yeah, you
bow
do.
shotgun combo is absolutely insane. So
Yeah. Right on.
It's like you when you have your sniper. I can imagine you just do this. Just close your eyes and shoot.
I
How
do.
good you are.
It's actually, yeah,
I knew it. I knew it.
you knew it. That's exactly right. That's exactly right. And then
Yeah.
also, here's a quick throwback. On Tuesday night, I teamed up with some of my friends and I was streaming Mass Effect 3 multiplayer.
Yes.
So
Oh,
that was and it was actually on PC, so I was using mouse and keyboard, which I never do. And it was so much fun. So it was awesome. And it brought me back. Mass Effect is a whole podcast in itself. Mass Effect is a very
Oh, yeah.
important game to me.
Heck yeah.
For a variety of reasons. But that was just blast from the past. It was a lot of fun. So
That's awesome.
hmm super cool.
Uh,
And what about you, Mule? What are you playing?
Man, so this has been eventful since the last time we got to get together. But of course, I've been
Yeah.
playing Assassin's Creed with you, all you guys. Y'all are actually all farther than me, but I'm like level 37 because I
Yeah, you're
have
just
been getting.
power. Yeah.
I'm getting sidetracked. But I did meet a very important person that you kind of set out trying to meet. I did that today, and it was awesome. It felt good.
Phoenix.
Was it the Phoenix?
Yes.
Nice,
Yes.
nice.
Yeah.
So I was like, oh, this feels good. This feels
That
good.
felt good. Oh, for
Yeah.
sure.
Hunter?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm trying not to be too spoilerly.
No, yeah, for sure.
But I've been playing a lot of Apex and it's surprisingly a lot of Destiny too. And
Yeah.
I got to say, the other night we were playing some comp with Radical here in Volcasmic. And
Volcasmic's the best.
I felt like we had the dream team
We
because
did.
I was basically the Mulehorn Jenkins running out trying to shotgun blast people. And as they looked at me and like, what's this stupid guy doing? Kill him. Rad and Volcasmic were just like, Snape, 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 Snape. And I was just like, this is like the
bodies were
perfect
hitting the
combo.
floor.
Dude, it was like the perfect combo because I was like, I mean, if they bodied them, then they were toast. Like, and if
yeah.
they got the headshot, they were toast. So
They
there
were
was like,
done.
there was no way like they could get away from us, and we were just, it was really fun. That was probably the funnest I've had in Destiny in a while. Like that was, it's just fun, man. It was just fun.
That's the first time I heard you laugh in Destiny in a while.
Yes, yeah. And my
Really
wife actually
fall.
asked me when I play, she's like, why do you play that? Because you get so mad. I'm like, I'm just too competitive. Yeah.
Yeah.
We also had some croc burning, as you guys know. We had over 100 subs. So
Nice.
we did a real life croc burning, and I did get an upgrade right here.
Already.
These are
Disgrace.
Texas crocs,
Flag,
baby.
sir.
There's
Disgrace the
nothing-
Texas flag.
It's nothing better
Exactly.
than some Texas crocs. I love them.
Walking around on the Texas flag.
Yeah, it's proud. It's like
Shit.
blessed my walking. I'm blessed wherever I go with the Texas flag.
They're like, come and take them. Yeah, yeah.
Right, exactly. So that was really fun. The community was really fun with that. They've been mega supportive. So shout out to all you guys that are listening on the podcast and supporting, and all you guys that are watching the live stream. And we've made a new deal that if we hit 250, then I will play Red Dead Redemption 2 because I never finished it, and Nate Johns will grow a beard. So there we go. So
Can
guys,
Nate
For
grow
that
a
in
beard?
December.
he can grow a nice little beard. He can grow a really nice beard.
Absolutely.
All right, there you go.
So Radical, let's get to know you a little bit. Kind of take us down memory lane a little bit. For you guys that are in
Sure.
chat, she also streams on Twitch, so you can see her handle there. Make sure you follow her there. It's twitch.tv/Radical618
That's
for you
me.
guys that are listening at home. But who are you? How'd you get started on this whole journey to be a mental health professional, gaming, all this stuff?
Wow. Okay, what do you want first? You want both at the
Let's-
same time? I don't know what you want here.
Let's start when you were a wee lass.
A wee lass. Okay, so honestly, the mental health interest I think came before the gaming. I actually didn't grow up playing many video games. When the regular Xbox, am I right? Yeah, when the regular Xbox came out is when my family got a Nintendo 64. So we were always a little bit behind. My parents were not big on the gaming systems, but before the gaming came mental health stuff, and it actually starts with my mom who has depression. She has a diagnosis of just a major depressive disorder. I just like almost blew it just then. So what that means is very quickly is that she goes through cycles of depression. She's not depressed all the time, but she has a chemical imbalance. She's simply just one of those peeps who does not, I actually don't think her brain collects or produces serotonin whatsoever. This poor woman. But when she's happily medicated, she's the silliest, goofiest, most wonderful mom ever. And when she's not, when she's always medicated, but when she's depressed, she's still the greatest mom ever. She's just not as goofy and as silly. So I grew up throughout my life seeing my mom in different parts of her life experiencing very severe depression. And I had to learn about it at a very young age and help. I'm the oldest in my family. There's only 2 of us, but I'm the oldest. So when I was in 7th grade, she had a very, very, very bad episode of depression, and she had to go to the hospital. Otherwise, she was going to be a harm to herself. And my dad looked at me crying at the age of 12 and said, "You got to help me. I don't know what to do." And luckily, my mom connected with the right professionals. She got pretty weird, if you ask me, treatment, but very effective treatment. And since then, she's had a couple of episodes, but she's been pretty good. Her medications have helped her a lot, and she's a great advocate for herself. She's a great advocate for mental health, and just seeing the way that her professionals helped her and, took her from having no light in her eyes to back to the bright green that they are. I think I realized at a really young age, I want to do that for someone else's mom. And so here I am. Yeah.
Heart of gold. Look at that over there.
Yeah, I wrote that in my grad school letter, and they accepted me, so it worked out pretty well. So, no, but it's interesting, because I grew up in a household that was very open, talking about how we're feeling, and I think part of that was because my mom was experiencing depression, and also because my family has no boundaries, so we just talk about whatever we want, and it worked out because now I'm here to help people. Experience openness and experience change however it is they want to experience that.
That's awesome.
Yeah. And then to answer the other part of your question regarding gaming, I think my first game on a console was Mario Kart in my dad's office. I have the fondest memories as a kid grinding Spyro the Dragon on PS4, or not PS4, on PS1 with my friend Tyler. And then once we got the Nintendo 64 in my household, there was a lot of Super Smash, Mario Kart, Mario Golf. I think I've played the crap out of. Thank you, Dad's first time. I just saw your message there. Yeah, my mom's the best, and she deserves all the love, and she gets it. Probably not enough of it. And Mario Tennis. We liked the Mario games. And then I found
pattern.
Yeah. Let me throw some other things in there. We had Star Wars. Pod racing. We had some weird Star Wars game where you played as a Star Trooper. I don't remember what it was called. Is that how you played as? I don't know. The graphics were terrible. I blocked it out of my memory. But we had a lot of Star Wars games, a bunch of other stuff. But I would say one of like the sleeper games that I don't often talk about that I think really defined gaming was Paper Mario on N64. Is one of the greatest RPG experiences you will ever have. And so it's in totally one of my top games for me. So that was really kind of my early gaming. I don't know if there's any other questions about gaming, but that's kind of where some of the gaming started, and then it developed a little bit as I got older.
Yeah.
So
right on. So, I don't talk about this much. Because most people that know me, they're like, "Oh, Mule, he's a happy-go-lucky guy." But since you're here, we can kind of talk about the subject. And when I was in college, I went through a really bad depressive time there. And I had some people that helped me out, but one of the things that also helped me out was video games, of all things.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And I don't know if it was just I was using it as an escape, or what it was, but for some reason, it's like the serotonin in my brain just made me feel a little better. And I go talk to my friends. I actually had some really close friends that they're husband and wife that were much older than I was. They were like a father-son or father-mother type mentor for me. And they were actually counselors. They're therapists.
Yeah.
So that I was like getting free therapy when I would go hang out at their house, and then I would go play video games. And for some reason, that always just stuck with me too. Because like I grew up playing video games, things like that. But now every time I play video games, like even for like Mulehorn Gaming when we're doing stuff for content, this makes me feel good.
Yeah.
And I don't know why. So is there anything in your expertise you can tell us why this might be?
Sure. Well, before I actually continue, one of the things I want to say, because you did mention the word expertise, for you guys listening or watching, I am a licensed mental health counselor. So some of the stuff I'm saying, I'm qualified to be saying, and I just want to make sure I throw that out there. I will not counsel you. I will not offer you therapy services,
Oh, I'm out.
but I can definitely direct you towards good resources and get you where you need to go.
So are you billing us right now?
Yeah, oh, for sure.
That's joking.
I'm not.
Right.
Don't clip that.
Yeah.
So, to answer your question, I think one of the things you said is probably one of the most common responses is that escapism. And I think that escapism is one of those things that we lose as we get older. I think so many of us, I don't want to speak for all of you guys, as kids, we would play pretend. We had our dolls and whatever, we played with trucks or whatever the
Action
case may be.
figures.
Action figure, I don't care, dolls. And we'd play with them and act things out, or we'd be
Yeah.
with our friends. And I was a bit, I don't know why this was the case, but I loved playing like toy shop, and I'd be like, come into my toy shop and buy these things. Like, and as somewhere along the way, that starts to become not normal, right? So we kind of lose that way of escaping from ourselves and exploring what we're feeling through playing pretend. But that's what video games is, dude. Like, we're jumping into a world and we're playing pretend, and we get to be somebody else for a bit, but also we're not necessarily somebody else. Some of these games that the four of us I know here, and many of our your viewers like Dragon Age, Mass Effect, any of these games where you get to create the character.
The Witcher.
Yeah.
The Witcher. Well, you don't get to create Geralt, but you do get to
Yeah.
pick what Geralt does. I will say, you get to make choices. Some of those choices are fueled by how we might be feeling, or who the type of person we are. I've played a lot of playthroughs of Mass Effect, and I cannot be a renegade. I can't do it. It just doesn't feel right to do it. I got to make some choices that are Paragon, because I'm a pretty nice individual, and I'm self-inserting. So I think that escapism helps with some of those feelings of depression, anxiety, whatever we might be feeling, because it allows us to insert it maybe even into the game a little bit and act it out and play it out so that we can get it out. Otherwise we just bottle it up and
Right.
we don't really get to do anything with it. It just stays inside. So that's a big one, I think, that a lot of people know, but I think a lot of people gloss over. Sometimes the big argument is, oh, you're just playing games. It's not always just about playing games for me when I'm playing video games. So
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. Because like sometimes, like after a really like hard day, for some reason I gravitate to the games that has the most explosions and pew pew.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
like,
you're taking frustration out there. Yeah.
Yeah.
Stress
It's
reliever.
exactly. It's like it just like makes me feel better. And I forgot to mention this before we start. If you guys that are watching, you can use channel points to ask questions to Radical or any of us here that we can answer here as we're going through the podcast. But yeah. So what do you think? Is it just like a coping mechanism more? You think video games, or does he? I mean, is it really more of like a I don't know, role play? I guess you could say.
Well, I think that I don't want to umbrella term it. I actually see Shaky wrote something in chat that is really important, and that's hanging out with friends, right? Like, I've made some substantial friends through video gaming that I wouldn't have otherwise met, through and they've persisted. There's people I don't talk to them as much currently because of just life things, but there's someone who I've known since like January of 2015 after Destiny 1 launched, and I still play Destiny with her. I still talk to her. We went to Guardian Con together. It's friendship. Like, and I wouldn't have normally been able to do that. And especially in a time right now when so many of us are at home and lacking some of that social connection that we would get in person. We have each other we're still talking to each other every day. We're still communicating with each other every day. And we're able to make sure that we as humans are feeding that social need that we have, because we're social beings.
Yeah.
But I think too that I'm a big believer in that role play piece. I just, spoke about it at length, but I'm a big believer in that. I was a big play pretend kid probably until I was too old to be playing pretend. I had a big breakdown once when I was in high school and I was like, Mom, I play pretend still. And she was like, it's fine, dude. Like, I'm in my car. I pretend I'm singing to people all the time. Like, calm yourself down. Like, so, you know what I mean? So, like, I
Yeah.
think that it's just a way for us as adults to be able to say, I'm going to jump into this and I'm going to
Right.
go blow up those cabal because I'm mad today and I
Yeah.
can't otherwise get my frustration out in a way that would be considered healthy. So I'm going to jump in a
Right.
game and do it.
Yeah.
Now, the therapist in me says I would advise maybe finding other coping skills so that you're not just playing games, but it's not a bad coping skill. It's total. If you're able to recognize I'm
Yeah.
going into this game to blow off steam, that's fine.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So
Yeah,
Yeah.
I can relate to that because I think my gaming has evolved into that. It started off, from a real small town, super conservative. So after a while, gaming is like, you're still gaming. What are you doing? But as I get older and separated from friends that were, hours away, states away, online gaming became a thing,
Mhm.
and
Yep.
allowed me to reintroduce with friends from college. One of them being Wade for sure, right there. Mass Effect was that. And so we started playing online games together, and that was just amazing. It brought
Yeah.
friends together. Over time, as Wade knows, some very interesting things happened in my life, and life dynamically changed. And so there's levels of frustration and stress is much higher. Games that allow me to deep dive into story and make decisions and I don't know, get completely immersive
Mhm.
is what gets it for me. I mean, I
Nice.
love blowing things up. I love multiplayer games as well on certain degrees, but these games just really do it for me. It's like The Witcher and
Mhm.
right now Assassin's Creed. I get lost in it, and
Yeah.
I can go to bed as a happy camper after putting in a couple hours of that. I'm like, I'm ready to go
Right.
to bed. I'm ready to
Yep.
relax now. It's
Yeah.
like, I just released all my stress in this game, and didn't expel my stress in any other fashion to anyone else.
That's great. Yeah. Um I've worked with some of the clients that I work with. A lot of the clients that I work with are young men, aged about 18 to 24, on the autism spectrum, and one of the things those men all have in common is they like to play video games. And so, part of my current job is to find what motivates people. And I ask them, what kind of video games do you play? What motivates you to play those video games? What do you do in those video games that make you motivated? And sometimes drawing the connection between the effort they're putting into video games into, hey, here's how you can get the same kind of motivation and implement it into your real life resonates,
Yeah.
right? Because, sometimes
hmm
I don't want to clean my room here. It needs to be cleaned. But I want to go into Destiny and complete my master time trials, my nightmare hunt master time trials. So something motivates me to do that. How can I implement that into my personal life so that I can clean this room? Obviously, that
Right.
hasn't happened, but I'm still working on it. But so that's where video games is more than just gaming. If it's a hobby, if it's something that somebody has motivation to do, there's a way to capture that motivation and implement it into their other areas of their life.
Yeah.
So in your case, you're saying I have a lot of stress over here that is not, thank you, Shaky, is not going to get resolved in a productive way. So I'm going to resolve it in a video game. I'm going to go I don't know what two you prefer there, Thad, but I'm going to go kick a bunch of Athenians in the groin and I'm going to call it a day. And that's going to be, it's going to be it for me. Go
I
Sparta.
prefer Merc and Athenians, but yeah.
Okay, fair.
Yeah. And Shaky asked us a question here. He said, "What do you guys games pull you away from the normal life and stuff the most?" I think we kind of touched on that a little bit, like RPGs, at least for me, shooters.
How about
Yeah.
you, Crow?
Oh, definitely more of the. I am the type where I'm more the grinder. Like I love grinding out gear, grinding loot. Like Warframe when it first came out wasn't really my cup of tea. It was I tried it back when after the Destiny 1 beta ended. I was like, nah, not for me. But then after maybe a year or so, tried it and like that type of game has really got hooked into me. You go do something, grind out. You might not get it. You might not get it on the 50th try, but hey, it's still fun. And that's the same way with like PSO2 is very similar to that. And that kind of just gets me motivated to go try and do these things, to go grind out this stuff. That's kind of how I unpack at the end of the day. And also they're social, so I can get into a party chat, jump in Discord with my friends. I mean, like Underdog and I, we met at church and found out that both of us played Xbox, and both of us were actually interested in this new game that Bungie was developing after years of not doing anything with Halo. And we got excited, and we've been best buds ever since. And like, we talk every day, probably almost every day, over playing Xbox and stuff. Like, I don't need anything else. Like, I'm good.
Yeah. And that's the beauty of gaming, right? Like this, and that's a whole other podcast. But the beauty of gaming is that there's no right or wrong way to do it. And especially when it comes to how it helps your mental health. Now, there's certainly instances in which it can not help your mental health. But if it is helping you in a positive way, it doesn't matter how you're experiencing gaming, as long as it's helping you and it's allowing you to lead a healthy life. Then the symbiosis, if you will, between mental health and gaming is really, really important.
Mm-hmm.
So.
I'm gonna get a little. Go ahead.
Like, no, I was just gonna say, like you were saying, it can help you. Like, it's helped me in the past. I've had problems, and it runs in my family. My mother is epileptic and bipolar, so I know how that whole goes with you were saying with your mother earlier. And there are definitely times where I have gone into depressive states. I don't think I'm bad enough that I need to be medicated. And I've talked to people, they're like, no, you're fine. It's normal. But it definitely helps to socialize in gaming with friends and stuff.
I mean, normal.
Yeah. No, but we're just picking on you now. But no, you're right there, man. That you're right on.
Yeah. And I'm gonna get a little deep here, and just this is deep thoughts of Mule here, and because I've thought about this before, and why does gaming affect me and my mental health so much to where I just feel so much better when I play it? And I think it comes down to a couple things. One, like I grew up very active kid, played a lot of sports, got lots of adventure in, right? Seen the world, been all over the world, all the way over to China, everywhere. And for me now, I feel like as a person, a human being, we all crave adventure in some way, right? And like to be caught up in a greater story. And for me, when I'm playing video games now, I feel like I'm getting that adventure because I'm almost 40, not as old as Prime. Sorry, I thought happy late birthday, by the way, bro. But it feels like to me, like even though I'm getting older, I can jump in a video game, hang out with my bros, like Scarecrow was saying, and it's like a group therapy session where I'm getting adventure and getting that fulfillment of being a part of something bigger. But I'm sitting in my living room or at my desk, and I don't know.
And not only are you getting the stress relief of blowing up that guy across the map, but you're also getting the opportunity to chat with your friends. Right. Like, there's definitely times where you'll just your friends and you'll just unpack on each other, just let it all out.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Yeah, and that keeps coming up, and I think that as we talk about it, that's one of the biggest pieces, is that social aspect. I think when people who aren't as educated in what gaming is and what gaming isn't, they don't realize how far gaming has come, where most people are not gaming by themselves anymore. It's gaming is a community. It truly is. That's why things like Guardian Con exist. That's why, PAX exists. That's why, all these other conventions exist, because it's it's just that. And
Yeah.
it's amazing. I do want to put the counselor hat on and interject though, and say that, one of the things that Mule said was that it's like group counseling. And I know that Mule did not mean this, but I'm going to make sure I say it. Don't let gaming stop you from seeking therapy, even if you're gaming a lot and it is helping you relieve stress and relieve, feelings of depression and things like that. It should not stop you from doing that. I go to therapy myself, so it's really important. Everybody can go to therapy, whether you're having a bad time or not. You can always feel better. You can always want to maintain how you're feeling, and there's always things to address. So, gaming's great. Don't let it substitute therapy if you need it.
Yeah, and I mean, there's a really big streamer we were talking about before the podcast that actually talks about he goes to therapy, and that's Say No to Rage.
Yeah.
You know?
He talks about it openly. I don't feel bad saying it on here, and I don't feel like I'm outing him. But he's a really good advocate. He has really good things to say about therapy, and he's really good at making sure he says, "I'm not a professional. So I'm telling you my experiences with therapy, and if you want to go to therapy, go and talk to those people about therapy. I'm just telling you how I've done it." And I think that is great that he does that. So.
And this question just popped in my head because we get that a lot as streamers, right? We get people always come in and say, "Hey, can you help me with this? I'm sad or depressed." And you're like,
"Yeah,
what do you do with that? It's like a bombshell, and what are you supposed to do?
Yeah, no, totally. And I've my journey through gaming and through socializing in the realm of gaming has taught me to set better boundaries about what it means to be both a therapist and a gamer. So there was a period on my stream where I was trying to implement like a therapy Thursday podcast type of thing. And it got to where I was providing, counseling all day. And then I was coming home and doing even more therapy. And while I'm passionate about therapy and I love coming on podcasts and talking about therapy, doing it myself was like an overload. And all that was going to do was open up people to come into my stream and start talking to me about, like I was mentioning before, I'm depressed, help me, I blah, 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 help me. And I want to help those people. I'm an empath.
Yeah.
That's why I'm a therapist. But I can't on Twitch. I cannot sit here and therapize you on Twitch. And so, I've really learned to set that boundary. And I've learned that even though I'm a professional and I'm someone who can be giving you really good information, it's still my responsibility to make sure I point you in the right direction to good resources. And that's how I set that boundary of, I'm here to talk about therapy. I'm here to inform about therapy and mental health and everything involved in that. But I am not going to be your counselor. I can't. I have to draw a boundary. I have to draw a line.
Yeah. I think Shaky brings up some good points in chat too. He said, I think therapy isn't looked at nearly as negative as it used to be. And then he talks about how it was viewed as weakness if you went to therapy. So what do you think is maybe the result of that shift? This is therapy hat time, not gamer time.
Yeah. So no, I think that shift is great. I think that he is right on the money. There's still a lot of stigma. One of the I try really hard to not use the word crazy. I really try hard not to use the word insane. And the reason for that is because there's so much stigma behind that. When people say like, "Oh, that's crazy," you know what they mean, and it's not good. And the people who are experiencing those, crazy symptoms, are not synonymous with what crazy means. There's like less than 3% of people with psychosis are actually hurting people. That's and the amount of people with psychosis is a really small number. So there's not a lot of people who are crazy who are going out and hurting a bunch of people. So I think that the best thing that I can do as a therapist is just to continue. That's why I actually just said about 3 or 4 minutes ago, therapy does not mean there's something wrong with you. Therapy means that you're looking for a third party to guide you towards a goal, whether that goal is to feel better,
I like
whether
that.
that goal is to maintain how you're feeling, whether that goal is to say, hey, I'm about to get married and it's very stressful. Can I just talk to you for a certain period of time to make sure that I don't like implode because stress is tough. So I think that as people start to spin it as a more positive thing, it'll just get better and better and better. And that goes for therapists, that goes for social workers, that goes for all people in helping professions, especially when it comes to people with mental health diagnoses. So
Yeah. You know,
Yep.
and we're gonna jump on this next topic here because it's a big one, and that, I mean, we've talked about it previously on the podcast, but now since we actually have a professional here, we can get some valuable insight here from Radical,
Sure.
and that's, you know, there's this whole big thing about how gamer disorder, right? And
Oh,
that
here we go.
yeah, the gamer disorder, and then we had Corona happen, right? And then the WHO comes out and says, well, no, gaming is actually healthy.
It's really helpful. Yeah.
What what are we supposed to make of all this?
Yeah. So this also goes back to something I said earlier, which was, you know, if you're someone here's how it actually let me back up. If you're the way that a disorder is defined is if something is preventing you from maintaining a healthy routine of living. If something is preventing you from sleeping, from eating, from socializing, from you know, X, Y, and Z, you know, a certain amount of these things, along with symptoms, but put the symptoms over here because every diagnosis, every disorder, what makes it a disorder is if it is interrupting your life.
Mhm.
So what the WHO is saying over here, not the band, but the WHO,
Yeah.
what they're saying over here is if you are gaming so much that you're not eating, that you're not showering, that your relationships are failing, you have a disorder. And that's what that means. But because people aren't as educated, and that's okay. I'm not expecting everyone to know the same amount of things I know on psychology and therapy, and that's okay. They're not supposed to. People are going to say, "What do you mean, gaming disorder? Oh no!" But and then also nobody's explaining it very well. They're just saying, "You play video games, you have a problem." That's not
Yeah.
right. That's not right. So, you know, yeah, Shaky, we are supposed to shower. If you're not, talk to your therapist. I heard you go to one. Something that Scarecrow said before was, you know, I spoke with somebody and asked about medication, and they said, you know, what I was experiencing was normal. Um, Somebody, when I was in supervision to become a licensed professional, what I had to do was see clients for a certain period, a certain amount of hours, and then I had to go meet with somebody biweekly or weekly, a currently licensed person to talk about it. Surprise.
Mhm.
So, something that he explained, what Scarecrow said before was, it was kind of normal, that feeling of depression, you know. Um, how this person explained it was a volume dial. We all get to a point of the volume dial where we listen to it and it doesn't hurt our ears. It's a good volume. Sometimes when we're feeling depression, our volume dial is all the way to 10 and it's too loud. Don't like it. We got
Mm.
to figure out how to get it back to 5. We'll put 5 as the median. But most people go up on the scale every once in a while. It's normal to have experiences that make us feel depressed. It's normal to feel anxious. Anxiety is actually a good thing. If we didn't have anxiety, we'd all be jumping off of cliffs because we think it's fun. Some people do that,
Prime.
but they're trained to do it, so they do it effectively. They do it well.
To
I
be
don't.
blunt, yes.
I get close to the ledge of a building that has a window in front of it, and I'm like, no, no, I'm stay
Yep.
back here.
Yeah.
Um, yeah. So with gaming, just like anything else, just like, and I'm not relating this to this because it's the same, but because there's addictive properties, right? With drinking, with drug use, with shopping, with gambling, with whatever. Gaming can become as addictive as anything else. And so if your dial is all the way up to 10 and it's affecting your life and preventing you from living healthily, you're gonna have a gaming disorder.
Yeah.
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 So that was a long-winded answer, but I think it's just it's a few different sides that are causing the issue. It's the one side of the WHO is just like, here you go. I expect everybody to know what a disorder means. And then it's the other side of the people receiving it, not realizing what a disorder means. And so then I'm here in the middle, like, yo, this is what it means. But then you got the WHO like, oh no, it's great that everyone's gaming during quarantine and blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
But that's because they didn't explain it well. So the reason why it's good is for all of these reasons we already discussed, which is it's promoting socialization, it's promoting brain activity. I mean, gaming
Mhm.
is so good for brain activity. There's
Oh, yeah.
reaction times, there's, you know, decision making, there's, you know, split second decision making, you know, who's going to take the ball and dunk it in the whatever raid I'm in, whatever.
Jumping a Destiny raid with my group, and you'll definitely have to think on your
Super
toes.
Yeah. So
We're staying
that's
alive in a BR.
oh, I know, right? Like, how do you stay? I haven't figured that out. How to stay
Mm-mm.
alive for very long in a BR? Just kidding. I've won a few times. So I think that's where some of that miscommunication happened. It was like disorder. Oh no, it's good. But that's because there just wasn't a lot of information about what a disorder is. So
That makes
Yeah.
sense.
Yeah,
I'm very long-winded. I'm so sorry.
No, I like
Good.
this. This is good explanation. Yeah, because it was just weird because like it was just like, oh no, it's good, and like for a minute there, I felt kind of good because like, oh, we're finally getting over the stigma that if you play video games, you live in your mom's basement, you know.
Right. Yeah. And
And
it's the
so-
same as therapy, right? Like it's gaming and therapy, the stigma is lessening together. I love it.
Yeah.
And then piggyback off that. Oh, go ahead.
Yeah.
Go, Emil.
Go ahead.
Yeah, sorry,
No.
I interrupted you.
I was going to say is, Dad's first time made a point. Gaming is less of a stigma. People understanding how much of a good thing it is now, and it's to the point now where people have actually found like-minded people to share feelings, emotions, and ideas. Our Discord is always blowing up. I've come across many more other communities on social media and gaming. We're just a lot of great people truly looking out, not just to play games with each other, but lift each other up, help each other along with real life stuff.
Oh, for sure.
And it's been great. It has been great. And it's another benefit of gaming that years ago was never really talked about. And all of a sudden now it's kind of the norm.
Yeah.
And I'm kind of loving it.
Yeah. I love that. Before, when I think I mentioned conventions, there
Yeah.
are so few instances in my life for a number of reasons, whether it's being an insecure 15-year-old girl or whatever the case may be, just being a human. At conventions, I do not feel accepted as much as I do at conventions. And like the feeling that I've gotten when I'm at Guardian Con specifically, just because of how, I play Destiny every day, give or take. I mean, I'm so invested in Destiny. I'm so invested in the community. Lono says this all the time. For those of you who don't know, that's Say No to Rage. If you're in his stream, you are beyond a casual player. You are listening to ideas, you are talking about the game, you are investing your time and learning about the game and the lore. So when I'm at a place like Guardian Con, I know that I can walk through with my Destiny socks and my Destiny shirt and wave at people who don't know who I am, and they're like, "Oh, hey, you're a nerd," and I'm happy about it. Like, and that's what gaming does. Gaming, more than any other community, I know there's a lot of toxicity, but I think there's less toxicity than there is togetherness. And in a time like right now, and I'm not going to go into it, that's not the point of this stream, but at a time like now, we need togetherness, so
Yeah.
the gaming community is a place where we can do that. We can help each other, we can promote who we need to promote, we can call people out when they need to be called out, and we can say, hey, we need to do better. We need to make sure that we're getting our voices heard for the sake of the millions and billions of people who are playing games.
Yep.
Right.
And that's why I love gaming. Thad, you nailed it, man. You nailed it.
Yeah.
I do what I can do when I can do it.
You take that hammer and you smash those guys off the boat, whatever the hell you said before. Yeah.
So
Not in my house.
in your professional career, have you ever used gaming as like part of therapy?
Yes and no. I kind of mentioned before, sometimes I'll talk to my clients about gaming in a way that is what motivates you when you're gaming. What kind of games do you like? My day job is for an agency that helps people with disabilities find employment and maintain employment. And my job is to provide guidance and counseling to help them do that. And so when I have young people come in and they say, I love gaming, I've never worked before, but I love gaming, I ask, what kind of games do you like? And sometimes I have people say like these puzzle games I've never heard of. And I'm like, oh God, I got to Google. I'm like, I don't know what the hell this is. But I say, okay, that's a puzzle game, right? So you like, you're very logical, you appreciate, you're very analytical. You like that type of thing. And then my counselor brain starts working and I say, how do I think that's going to relate to what type of employment they want to pursue. And wouldn't you know it, usually those are the types of people who want to go into, be an electrician or something where it's very logical and X, Y, and Z. And then I got people who are like, I love Mass Effect. Actually, I have a really nice story real quick. Yeah, I have a client who, when he was very young, he sustained a traumatic brain injury. A dog attacked him when he was like 3 or something. And so he has a traumatic brain injury. He can still do, for those of you who don't know, a traumatic brain injury is, you
Yeah.
hurt a part of your brain and you lose some functionality, whether it could be speech, movement, whatever. He's pretty high functioning, but he definitely has some intellectual deficits going on. But the first day I met him, this guy came in. He's in my office. I walk out. The guy's wearing oh my God, I forgot, a Tempest shirt, a Tempest
Yeah,
sweater.
the N7.
From,
Yeah.
It wasn't N7. It was actually from Andromeda. It was the
Oh,
Tempest,
really?
yeah,
Okay,
the Pathfinder thing.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so I didn't say anything, but he comes back into my office, and I think his mom is with him. He's like in his 40s. His mom's with him. Comes back in my office. We're talking, and then I get to the part of the appointment where I say, I cannot help but notice that you have a Mass Effect sweater on. And this guy, I mean, it was like he had never met somebody who got it. And I was like, man, I love Mass Effect. Mass Effect 2 is my favorite game. It's my favorite game of all time. It's because of Miranda Lawson, but it's my favorite game of all time. and he now, when I talk to him on the phone, or when he comes to my office, the first thing he does when he sees me or when we talk on the phone, he goes, Mass Effect, Mass Effect, Mass Effect. It's a Mass Effect kind of day. And I was like, that's what I'm talking about. I love that energy, bro. So, it's just a matter of, again, it's just that togetherness. It's just a matter of finding what my clients like, what motivates them, and how can I, again, implement this into their life. It's an amazing feeling. And I've had some guys come in and talk to me about, when they're stressed out, they go into Skyrim and they pick flowers. I love it.
Yeah.
Do it. Go into Skyrim and pick some flowers, things like that. So it's that's how I help them when it comes to gaming. I talk to them about gaming. I let them know I'm a huge gamer. Let's talk about it. Let's figure out how we can use that to our advantage. Sometimes it doesn't work, but usually, if anything, it just helps build that rapport. It lets them know that I'm with them. I get it. And that's sometimes all you need. Yeah.
Yeah. And I feel like with the whole COVID thing that we had, it really helped like so many people cope with this, like, because, you have some people that really, really enjoy like the stillness and quiet. And some people like myself that would kind of go crazy with that.
The opposite.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because like I'm used to a house with 4 kids, my wife, my dog, and like stuff just happening all the time. And so if there's stillness, it kind of feels a little weird.
Right.
And I feel like the whole like video games, and maybe it is just an escape sometimes, but I feel like it keeps my brain so sharp.
It does.
And
Sure.
like you were saying earlier, how it helps with reaction time and coordination. I feel like you're telling me I just need to game until I'm like in my 80s.
Yeah, pretty much.
Get brain
Make
fresh,
sure you
brother.
shower and eat. I mean, whatever.
Yeah.
But take care of your fam, and then you can do whatever you want. But yeah, gaming and mental health, I think there's more to learn about the relationship between the two. I think that because both have their own stigmas that they're still, working out. And then, because the stigma is if you play video games, you're a loner. If you play video games, you're unsuccessful. If you play video games, X, Y, and Z. I love throwing ninja in people's faces. I'm like, look at Ninja. Look at it. I'm never going to be Ninja, but look at Ninja. Look what he does. He's a phenomenal video gamer. I don't care. I don't care what you think about him. He's so good at video games, and he knows how to run his business. I mean, he's amazing.
Yeah.
He's going to make more money than everybody I know is ever going to make. Like, congratulations to you, dude. But
He's made
figured
legacy
it out.
money. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like where his kids will have money.
Will never have to work again.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
But in all seriousness, Ninja has revolutionized the way that gaming is seen. And taken seriously, and I give him props for that. It's important. And mental health, it's one of those things. I think that it's always going to be something where people are going to have to advocate for. That mental health is not just for people who are at the end. They're in the what's the term where they're like circling the drain. Like that's yes, those people need assistance, but that's not what all that it is, So
Yeah. So I got one more question for you.
sure.
And if you could do any study that combines gaming and therapy, what would you kind of want it to center upon? Or if you have
If I
like,
if I
yeah,
could conduct
if
a
you
study,
could do it, yeah.
I think that it would go back. I've actually thought about this before. I think that it would go back to something related to escapism. And I think that it would be, you're presented with this type of experience in real life. How do you handle it? You're presented with the same exact experience as Cassandra, the eagle bearer. How do you handle it? And I think that you'll see that people feel more comfortable handling it in game. And then you say, well, you managed to do a game. You managed to do it with that really, I'm growing my hair out just so I can have the braid. I'm not kidding around. You have that great braid. You got the armor, you got the bird. Like, what's stopping you from doing it in real life? So very
Yeah.
briefly, I couldn't continue it. It was a conflict of interest with my work, but I was kind of like a co-counselor in a group for teenagers, and the therapy session was a group counseling session, and they were playing Dungeons and Dragons. And I was like, I'm just gonna ride this because it's Dungeons and Dragons, and that sounds great to me. And honestly, man, it was so eye-opening as to just how self-inserting people are and how they use games to
Mhm.
address things that they've got going on. And I know this is what we talked about at first, but it doesn't have to be a video game. It could be D&D, it can be Monopoly. Like, people have games so that they can experience things that they wouldn't otherwise be able to.
Yeah.
My job is to bridge the gap between how do you take it from in-game to your real life.
There you
Yeah.
go.
Except for
I like
killing a bunch of Athenians, don't do that.
Yeah. Well, Radical Man, it's just been great having you on here and getting like your thoughts and just all these questions that I've had for so long, especially when it comes to video
I have one
games.
more. I just
Yeah, we
popped
have
up.
a couple in
Oh
chat, I
yes.
think.
Oh, okay. Let's go.
Yeah.
Go for
But
it, Prime.
anytime, Mule. We can talk it out.
Yeah.
So yeah, I see here Dad's first time asked, what is my opinion on the culture of multiplayer games making people more isolated, which contribute to feelings of aloneness and enhance them? That's a great question. I didn't touch on that very much, just because I wanted to sort of shine a light on the really good things, but this is super important. When I was in grad school, I did a very long paper on internet addiction disorder, which I don't actually think is a full diagnosis yet, but it's in the appendix of the diagnostic manual.
Okay.
And this comes up a lot. And so basically, what they say is that, and I've had this happen to me with friends online, is sometimes people don't have the skills to go out in public, or they don't have friends, right? It's just for whatever reason. Here's my example: all my friends moved away from where I live. I don't have any friends right now. I have a bunch of people online I talk to. So, but what happens is we meet people online, and then in the nature of life, whether they are real life friends or online friends, sometimes people come and go. And so, what happens though is if your main, friends are online and then they leave, where does that leave you? You're alone again. And so it can really become this vicious cycle of isolation. And so that's what I was saying before, is you have to make sure that you're watching what you're doing when you're gaming. You're participating in gaming healthily, just like you would in IRL relationships. If you have a toxic friend, you're going to back away from that friend.
Right.
And if you have people online who seem to be toxic, or maybe they're starting to withdraw, it's really important to make sure that you're keeping yourself with people who are going to be reliable, because it's going to just like you said, enhance those feelings of aloneness and isolation, and that's what we want to avoid for sure.
Yeah.
So
Awesome. Great answer.
yeah.
Good Kid had a question too. Yeah.
Yeah. So, wow. I always feel like I cannot read your name. Gid Kidad.
Good Kid
Woo,
Dad.
that was
Yeah.
tough. All right, I got it. Maybe I missed it, but has there been any studies done on kids suffering from traumatic instances being positively affected by video games? I know that growing up, it was my escape from some bad situations. We did kind of talk about that, and I don't know if there's been any studies, and I'm not going to answer if there have or haven't been, because I don't know. But my guess is that similarly, I think for right now, a lot of video gaming is being used as like a role playing type of intervention for a lot of therapists. So,
Okay.
If I was going to sit down with someone and say, hey, go through this and go through this game and tell me why you made the choices you made. Oh, it was because I had this traumatic experience. Okay, well, let's unpack that. That's very simple. That if that's how it worked out in a therapy session, that kid does not need therapy. But so that's kind of how that would work. You don't have to apologize. I didn't really talk about it that much.
So we could think about that. The application of that. You could actually do, like, you could be a therapist and have someone that loves D&D.
Yep.
And do a D&D therapy session.
Yep.
Dude.
Yep. They already do it.
Really?
Yeah, that's what I did. I was a co-counselor in a group where they did that.
That's
now think about it. There's
awesome.
literally an episode of Community where they do that.
Yeah. I mean, it's ingenious. If you do it in a way that shows why it's clinical and why it is, helping someone make a change that is positive, you're providing therapy. Now, you still need to be trained to do that. Don't go out there and just say, I figured out how to do this. But it has to be conducted by a clinical person. But so
Prime signed my certificate. I'm a therapist now.
There it is, Radical Gaming.
D&D.
D&D by T Prime.
Yeah, and Mule, can I make one last statement?
Certainly, yeah.
Cool. So I did kind of touch on this before. One thing that I want to say is that be careful, you gamers out there who are watching Twitch, who are on Twitch. Be careful who you're getting information from. There's a lot of people who are, really coming from a good place, wanting to provide information about mental health, but they're not qualified to do it. And I say that respectfully. I value where they're coming from. There are good resources and good people on Mixer, on Twitch, on YouTube, I'm sure, who are qualified to be giving mental health resources and information and having healthy mental health discussions. If you are someone who's looking for those resources, contact me. You can find me on Twitter. You can message me on Twitch. You can find me in Discord. I will point you in those good directions. There's a few people on the top of my brain who are not so good, and there's a few people on the top of my brain who are very good. And I'm saying that as somebody who is in the profession. So just keep that in mind. That's something I don't talk about very much, but is really important. And with how easy it is on Twitch to give information, and for people who don't know what good and bad information is, it's starting to become something I want to make sure people know about. So I just wanted to make sure that we address that very briefly.
100%.
Very good point. Very good point.
Cool. So that's all I got.
Thank you for joining us. This has been a really good episode. I just feel good right now. I feel my serotonin is working.
I'm sitting here realizing I didn't speak much. I'm just sitting here
I know,
soaking it all in. No, I'm just soaking it all in. Like, it's a good thought there.
Yeah.
I'm unabashedly someone who loves the sound of my own voice. So no shame. I'll talk for hours.
So it'd be perfect for a podcast then.
I know. I would love to do a podcast. Like, I've thought about it for myself, but if you need,
maybe we'll have to get you on as a host sometime. There we go.
There you go, man.
Be the last time we see you.
Hey, I like that, Thad. There you go.
Right.
Want to do a full an N7-day special? I'm your girl.
Oh yes, that'd be awesome.
You're all welcome. That's coming.
We'd have to get Tom Taylorson to come back on for that one too. That would be.
Hey, Allie Hillis and I are best friends now, so I'll see what I can do.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Yep.
Now we can get the Leandra actors.
Yeah.
You can get who?
Leandra.
Liara.
Yeah, that's her, baby. Allie Hillis. I cried to her at a convention. It was great.
Yeah. I'm sorry, guys.
Story for another time.
Yeah.
But so cool. Well,
tell
thank you guys for having me. It's fun.
Yeah, tell all our viewers where they can find you on social media, Twitch, all that stuff. Where can we find Radical?
Heck yeah. So I make it pretty easy for you guys. I am Radical618. Thanks, dads. I'm Radical618 on Twitter and on Twitch. Instagram's a little bit harder. It's Radical618 all spelled out because somebody else is Radical618, but whatever. But I'm not really on Instagram as much. I'm on Twitch. On when do I stream? Tuesday nights, Wednesday mornings, and Saturday nights on twitch.tv/Radical618. And then I'm at Radical618 on Twitter. And then I do have a Discord server. So if you guys like what you see, you can always join there and join the Rad Alliance. So that's where you can find me.
And how
Right
often do you
on.
stream? What's your relative schedule?
I stream on Tuesday nights at around 8 p.m. Wednesday mornings between 9:30 and 10 for 4 or 5 hours. And then Saturday nights, I start it really late, but it's so that I can kind of do more of an adult language stream. That's 10 p.m. until I go to sleep. And I
Right
actually
on.
started doing a community style thing for Saturdays. So I kind of post something in my Discord channel that says, hey, this week I'm going to be playing this game. And if you want to join, please react to this post, and then we'll go ahead and get you into the game. So that's what I've been doing on Saturdays. Yeah.
Awesome.
Oh, Eastern time zone. All those times were Eastern. I'm the worst at this. I've never promoted anything in my life. All of those times were Eastern. I'm in Florida, so all Eastern. Go
Right
Rays. I
on.
can't wait for baseball. Okay.
Oh yeah.
Oh, right on.
Well, thanks
Yeah.
for joining again, and all you guys that are listening and watching. Thank y'all for joining us as well. It was a really fun episode. Guys, if you like our community, then check out our friends, The Shed, at theshed.gg. And if you would, guys, like us on Facebook, leave us a review on iTunes. You can follow us all on Twitter. Remember, guys, when in doubt, blow it up!
Blow it up.
Boom, 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 bang, bang, boom.
Oh,
Bang.
my kids are awake. Maybe not.
Jeopardy.